On what? Just to make
Yeah,
make the
after,
notes.
can you explain, set the context? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So as part of our effort to kind of expand the capabilities of CAPE, we're introducing this idea of deterministic workflows. So we have kind of Jarvis agent running, which is a separate agent that was built a while back, and it does a lot of our kind of tasks like creating LLM keys, um, creating EC2 clusters, groups management. So a bunch of the self-service tooling is done using this one kind of sub-agent that's been built specifically for this. But yeah, my idea was how do we allow Kate, which is a general agent, to also do these these specific tasks which have to be kind of deterministic. So I came up with this idea of task config. So it's like a YAML file that allows you to specify each workflow in a set of steps that your agent has to follow. So if you imagine in the UI, each one of these could be one of those configs that you as a administrator or as a user have configured. But I can demo if my cape will allow me. One sec, I need to switch to the
So on the
recording.
screen, what are those tasks? The quick start templates?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, so these tasks are actually just prompts at the moment, but what I'll show is something that's more more of what we're trying to do. So in this case, Cape knows that we have a task for creating an EC2 instance specified in our task config. So it gives us the option of kind of following that task rather than planning by itself. So in this case, the first step in the task that we've defined is to give us an input form, and that's actually quite common from all of the tasks. They all do this because you often need user input before running a workflow. You can see on the right the kind of steps that are being done. So first we collected the details, now we're fetching the Terraform template, and this is all what we've decided that LLM should do. It's not the LLM deciding because this is a defined process. So it's doing a bunch of templating. This is something that we previously used like boilerplate for, whereas now it's the agent using its tooling, the template variables in a template correctly. It also has access to Git, so this is just simply using all the sub-agents that we have available to then create a PR, push the changes, request approvals, and also notify through WebEx. So it's kind of end-to-end what we would have done in the old Jarvis. We're now doing it through this kind of more agentic approach. So it's created the PR. Now it's also going to create a Jira ticket to help us monitor. And then, that should be it for this workflow. But we have around 10 workflows set, and each of them has 15 steps, up to 15 steps. So they're quite complex. And by encoding them in this file, we're just able to be more deterministic and also leverage Cape to the fullest instead of relying on this kind of Jarvis custom implementation. And I think it'll benefit a lot of organizations who are looking for their specific knowledge to be encoded in a way that Cape can be helpful. So this is the final result. We've got our PR created. If I can then do Atlanta's plan, and we also have the EC2 request. And just for completeness, I'll show you what the YAML looks like. So for this, the create EC2 instance step, let me find it. So it looks like this. You have a head of the kind of task.
Is this file in the repo?
Yeah, it's on a PR. So
okay.
It's currently not merged, but I'll send you the link to the PR.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
You can see each one. First is the input form, collect these details, and it's templated through environment variables. So obviously your company specific details can go in environment. You don't have to put it directly in the file. And then, yeah, just each step, fetch Terraform template, process values, etc. It's just a unique thing assigned to a different subagent. That's the key. But yeah, I think that concludes it. Any questions? Shri, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I do. I think this is really awesome to represent in this like YAML format. I'm wondering, I mean, this is easy to read, and like maybe if you can explain, are you replaying each prompt after successful iteration of a step, versus if you give an entire skills MD, you're letting the LLM do the reasoning and the to-do list, versus here, are you taking all of the steps as to-do list, or are you at the end of each step, you're sending another prompt to the supervisor or orchestrator?
Yeah, so we're pre-filling the to-do list, but at each stage, we create a subagent with only this prompt. So each step is a unique kind of isolated task. So we're leveraging deep agents for that. And then as each step completes, the LLM gets the next prompt, and the way data is passed between the steps is through the file system. So you can see here there's instructions, oh, write the status of your job to this file, and then the next one reads it and continues. It's kind of similar to Argo CD, or like Argo workflows, except that we're doing it in
So
an agentic way.
So basically you have a Python program, like how much is like LLM, like agentic versus static? Like you just have a Python program that basically creates this agent, sub-agent, passes this prompt, and then you wait for in the agent you say, when are you creating like an agentic workflow that says like when this step is done, move to the next one, and the next one is just a function or a tool that says the same thing, create the agent with the LLM prompt, wait until it's done. I'm not sure what is wait until it's done. Like, so what if it's successful or not? Like, who's checking if it's successful or not to move on to the next step? Is it a Python program, or is it like LLM deciding?
So in this, it's just the so all the code does is it ensures each step is called in sequence. But we've done that in the deep agents framework using middleware. So that means that the agent could still be in control if we wanted to, but because the goal of this is to do things deterministically, we do have controls within the middleware to ensure that each step is done by itself. Sorry, like each step is done without the agent deciding, and like it just has to be done in this order. Regarding errors, what I've found is if a step fails, this agent will write template fetched error to this thing, and then when the next agent reads it and sees it's an error, it'll kind of propagate that to subsequent agents. So we could short circuit and maybe say, okay, don't carry on going, but this is a very early iteration of this, so I haven't done that. But yeah, that's the behavior in the error case.
To bubble up to the supervisor agent, I guess.
Yeah, that's one option. I remember for a different project, we gave the supervisor a tool saying stop execution, but I found that it can sometimes hallucinate stop execution, which isn't helpful. So I think, yeah, a different approach of letting the sub-agent say if it failed and then stopping, that would be good. Yeah.
I do wonder if some of the read write processing could be written as like a guidance rather than such a prescriptive step, because it almost feels like a I mean, one of the advantage of agentic is that you write less code or no code. Making it so prescriptive, are we limiting the agent's thinking or reasoning ability?
I think for this case where you have a known process, I think it's okay to be prescriptive. But yeah, there's other cases where you don't know the process, and then sure, let the agent plan. Um, and all of this is written with AI, by the way. Like these tasks, I didn't tell it how to structure these files. It just kind of knew the dependencies between the tasks and it was able to figure out. And this is Cursor, by the way. In the future, maybe we could have Cape write its own tasks and kind of have a self-evolving playbook. But yeah, like it looks like a bit finicky, but I think agents can understand like the dependencies and stuff.
Yeah. I think our challenge is to either make this like this is like a open standard where we publish this and get more adoption to this task config standard. Alternatively, we also see how we can consume this via like existing standards, like whether it's skills.md or power.md. Because I think to get wider adoption of this type of skills, people would gravitate towards, hey, I can use my skills even outside of Cape. That's what I think people would gravitate towards. We need to double click on that. I'm
Oh,
just curious. Yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
oh, sorry. So you're referring to, yeah, I was thinking that, are you referring to that this file, instead of being like a spec or static file like this, be just a natural language, just this thing just in paragraphs, right? And then
Yeah,
have the agent generate the assembly language, which is this YAML for the
yeah,
next program, right? That could be an approach. I think that's what Arthur was saying, that you can have this in natural language, right? And create the next one. And just to be more deterministic, the to-do list needs to be created, right? This is
yeah,
like a to-do list of executes these things in this order, and for each step use the suggested agent, I'm guessing, right? And then pass the context to the next agent. And it came with this framework, right? Came out with this framework that works.
yeah, and potentially with multi-agent collaboration, etc. What if we could like seek, do some things in parallel and in sequence? I'm just worried with a very prescriptive step by step. If it's like in a way the agent can reason and seek, parallelize some tasks and serialize some, would that, like for example, if you were to ask Cursor or an LLM to create a skills MD of this, and if you were to pass this to the supervisor, would you get a similar task list and output? I mean, obviously it won't work through your algorithm, but I'm just curious if how would that to-do list work?
I think it would be a good probability with the top model that it will do this accurately. I think the models keep getting better, but there's a chance it will hallucinate. Like that's always a risk, and with skills, there's no guarantee it will execute in the kind of order you want. So it's really, yeah, it's a tricky balance. And I liked, yeah, Carlos's idea around kind of, well, I think we spoke about it, like compiling skills maybe in the back end to some kind of representation like this, where we know we know what's going to happen. But yeah, this is purely from like my experience, like building a marketing agent, and then also like also in self-service, that this could be useful because you don't need to write code. You just write in kind of natural language what your agent has to do.
Yeah,
But
I agree. So this is to go back to the spec-driven development, right? That there's different personas of, like, you don't want to give the end user, right, the person that goes to the website or the UI to create an easy to instance, a workflow that is generic. They mean that has a high probability of not working.
Mhm.
But as a platform engineer, you can use agentic, I don't know what to call it, template builder, workflow builder, and have some iterations with a maybe a deep agent or an agent that and this is for the construction, this is for the builder, not for the end user, right? To get to the final output that is this workflow that you stamp and version maybe, and that's the one that you publish. So maybe the builder is just iterating to get to this final state of like, this is the one that works. And maybe version it and publish it into the platform, into the IDP.
I think I can definitely see that. I think if we create the users will write natural language and nobody translates this into this format, and this is kind of generated by Cape or some other tool. That makes sense. I like that idea.
Yeah, we could make it look nice in the UI where, you know, you're writing in natural language and it starts building the graph kind of
The
like
spec,
what's
yeah,
gonna happen.
I see this
Yeah.
as a spec, right? The same way Kiro ID and others, like you have vibe mode and spec mode.
Mhm.
And you have in a conversation and the end result is a spec. And also the same thing with design, like design has sections and certain format of that file.
I can definitely see the value. I'm just wondering for things that are a bit more generic, debug foo, right? I think the multi-react agents, what they're doing is they're calling a bunch of bash in a lot of loops. There is no prescriptive
Yeah.
playbook in some ways.
Yeah, debug
But,
is debug is not like a standard input, standard output, like that. The output you don't know what it is, so that one goes with like things what I don't know what the you know what the description they to the agent that is like open claw of like or the low bolt of like it continues even if it fails and work in parallel until finds the solution, right?
Yeah.
And doesn't give up, so that's more autonomous agent. Go ahead. Subham. A great demo by the way, Arthur. You can put the link up. I'll put it in the notes and just taking notes.
Yeah.
I remembered when Arthur mentioned graph, which was that did we look at N8N? Because isn't N8N doing a similar thing with having workflows and creating workflows visually with agents.
I guess, but I mean I did have a brief look. I think yeah, it doesn't really integrate with the deep agents framework. Like I think the advantage of this approach is that it you can have a hybrid AI. Like the same model is doing both your deterministic tasks and also the, you know, it can plan for itself. I think that was one of the advantages. I think N8N also had some like security issues, and it's quite popular like along in like maybe like, you know, citizen developers, but I'm thinking this could be targeted more at enterprise. Like people have playbooks, they have documentation. These all need to be gathered together and maybe compiled into these kind of agentic workflows. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess the deep agent framework is probably not something they support, maybe. Yeah.
I think maybe the key is to assemble the task config, if that can be a derivative of natural language input. Hey, I want you to do this, but you know, start here first. And you know, if that could be explained and also refined with the natural language, that would be an interesting way to do that. But I think we have to prefix by saying this is a very prescriptive, I guess we can say always deterministic workflow, whereas skills.md, this is almost like a suggestion, right, or a guidance. in this case is beyond a guidance. You're telling LLM to only do this. The tricky thing is, could you just give this to any generic LLM, like Claude or Kiro, and say, hey, read this task config and follow the instructions? Would it do that if you provide the right MCP tools?
Yeah, yeah, 95% of the time it would get it right, and then there's that 5% where it does something else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would just say that this isn't fully deterministic either. It's just the orchestration between the agents. So each individual agent still has, based on the prompt, the ability to do whatever it wants.
Mhm.
So it's really just a way of chaining sub-agents. Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
question. R2, I have a question. Now that you said about like orchestration, if the information is passed through files, how is this implemented? Like if the agents are running in different containers, like for example in Kubernetes, how do you pass in the next agent accessing the files?
Yeah, so as part of this change, we've kind of created a single node version of Cape. This initially started actually to make development a bit easier. But yeah, like we're trialing this single node version, and I think it's a virtual file system. It's not a real file system, so it's just a way for the agent to track its data. Yeah,
What do you mean not a real file system?
like it's just in memory. Like it doesn't actually write to file. It's just a way to store information.
Oh yeah, TMPF, yeah, empty there, NTFS, that all the containers when you run in Docker can access. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just a dictionary in Python. It's the way Deep Agents does it. It gives the model tools to update this dictionary that is scoped per thread. And we've actually not got rid of, we've added a new mode for Cape called single node mode, where if you want, you don't have to run your 10 containers. You can run Cape as one container with all of
Oh,
the sub agents within the same container.
I see. Is that in? I have not seen
That's in the
that.
PR as well, so there's a few changes.
Okay. And if
Oh,
you were to do this, like when they're running in different ones, how do you envision doing that?
in that case, we have like the orchestrator. It's at the orchestrator level. So yeah, I mean, yeah, when it comes to file system, I think they would need to share the same Postgres database as their file systems, because like if we use a Postgres checkpointer, then all of the subagents could use the same thread scoped file system. But yeah, that's not implemented right now. And I think at the moment it's just optimized for single node deployment, the task config.
Oh, you said that LangGraph supports that, like agents running in a different container can share the
Uh,
context,
well,
the
yeah,
checkpoint database.
different if the same agent if the same agent uses like Postgres or something, you can run multiple replicas of the same agent. I don't think LangGraph supports different agents
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
using
we
the
have the
same.
GitHub agents, right? And you're passing to different agents. But it could be just passing that into context, right? These are like file X, and this is the context. The supervisor can just pass it as in the call as part of the prompt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um,
Make it stateless, right? That it has all the information that it needs in the LLM prompt that you have in the task config plus extra context, right? Which is like file X contains the context, right? Don't read it. It's here.
yeah. I think, yeah, because some tasks write to files that might not be used by the next agent. So then you might need to kind of have a more like verbose YAML to say what files to give to what agent when. But I mean, yeah, it's doable. But
But
I
the next agent has at the top. You said that I think it has at the top reading file X and Y, right? So you can like read. The agent can know what is the requirements for the next agent before executing it. You know what I mean? Like the orchestrator can read the LLM prompt for the next task and see like meet the requirements, right? If it's saying like needs files, it may just pass it out. Okay, I was wondering about that. That's, thank you. Good.
yeah, no worries.
I didn't know about the single node. Cool.
Yeah, and we also migrated to upstream deep agents as part of that code. So should be up to date on that.
Oh, everything is in one PR, the single node, or do you have different ones?
No, it's because they all kind of depend on each other. So yeah, it's single node, deep upstream deep agents, and task config.
So you have multiple PRs, right? Or
No,
no?
no, it's the same PR.
Oh, same PR, 777. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
That's what I was asking.
I wonder if you could write that temp instead of tempfs maybe to like a common Redis or something. Even the remote agents could use the same context, like whether they are in a single node all in one versus remote agents, they can share the same, like maybe in memory file system like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd need to do some investigation, but
Did I use Redis, Asir?
Yeah, or some kind of shared memory where they are writing the context and sharing that. Because if they are using tempfs to write to files, and if it's a container, then the containers can share
Yep.
that
I
same
was
file
asking.
system.
Yep.
So yeah, so if they're remote agents, maybe they can use some kind of common file share, or maybe S3, but S3 could be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a folder, right? A path, for the task with the task ID or something like that, and everybody has access to that same S3 bucket slash context task ID or whatever, 777, whatever the orchestrator decided to call it, and then every agent gets that location to look up the files. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Since it's files, like Redis will be like you are then be converting file system calls to Redis keys and creating kind of a file system abstraction on top of Redis, where like S3 is much easier.
Yeah, as long as we preserve the the tools, right? Like the grep, find, those kind of tools. Because I think that's what the agents use to find the right file.
Yeah, potentially you can mount it, right? You can mount it in the container in a folder that S3
Yeah,
with S3 mount.
Yeah, we just have to worry about, like, I guess, file locking and who has access to. Maybe if they all use unique files, etc. But
Well, in this case, the task is execution is sequence, right? There's no
Yeah.
two agents accessing the files. Writing.
yeah, we can scope it by thread as well. So then should be fine.
And it's using RAG. I see like RAG services are included in the Docker Compose or
It supports RAG, so the existing RAG functionality, just making sure that also works.
okay. Cool. I'll take a look.
Yes. Thanks.
Oh, the Docker Compose folders got deleted? Or the Docker Compose folder?
Yeah, I
Or
removed
moved?
the per sub-agent because I think they weren't working, right? Or they
Yeah, I
hopefully-
think that is deprecated. We really have moved to compose profiles. I think that is meant to be deleted anyway. Probably, I think we can merge it in this PR, but ideally it's like a smaller thing.
Yeah,
Basically,
I saw
we
it.
should just be compose profiles rather than individual files.
Yeah, I saw the profiles. Your profiles X this thing gets included or not.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other topics? If not, we can conclude here. Thank you, Arthur, for the demo. We could resume more conversations next week and see. Hopefully, after my chat with Nirmal, we can bring him into this conversation and talk about their needs, etc.
Yep. I took some notes. So see you folks.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Bye.
Thank you.